All right. So like you should all see something like this loading React logo. And how did we get there? We got here by running successfully the command npx create React application. And how did we get here to load this in the first place? The first thing we did was to install Node.js on our system. All right. Node.js, go to nodejs.org or search for Node.js on Google. Okay. Download the appropriate one for your system, install it. Once you've installed it, from inside of your terminal, you can run your node space v, the dash v. It will give you the version of the node that you have. You can also check for your npm as well. So the npm is a package installer or package manager for node. All right, you also get the version right there. Once you've done that, now move to your file, which is the tech bridge folder inside of your desktop environment. I believe everyone should have that. Right click on that particular folder. You would see a git bash here if you're on Windows. If you're on Linux or you're on Mac computer, you see open in terminal. Click on open in terminal or git bash here and run npx create React app. And the name of the app we are creating here in this case is test app. That's why we use test app. Had it been the name of the app was, let's say, Facebook, yeah, this is what we're going to like pass right there. So once you've created that, the next command is going to be shown to you and you will see how to move in that regard. Like in this case, we changed our directory to the test app application that we created. If you open it, you will see various things inside, things like node modules, public source, package or JSON, etc. So open it and you have this compiled successfully and loading. So right here, this particular test app application, let's open it inside of our Visual Studio Code. Okay. All right. So open it in your Visual Studio Code. All right. So we have something like this. All right. You can see the public folder right there, the node modules, and the source folder that's showing you the app.js, the app.test.js, etc., and index.css, index. All these things. See them right there. Okay. So please let me know if you've got the same result like this. Please comment on the channel so that I know. Dio, Israel, Lion, Oluwaseun, do you all have the same result like this? Okay. What about Israel? Okay. Line, are you getting it?
Yes, I just did.
All right. Oluwaseun.
Yeah, I think my package is still installing. I just sent something out now, showing what's on my terminal.
Okay. I think if you have the Slack channel open, you can just post it there as well. I'm referring to Oluwaseun.
Okay, okay.
So right inside of our Visual Studio Code, you would notice that the things that has been shown to us, like they are not strange things. All right, you can see the HTML file right there. You can see index.css right there, and you know, almost everything inside is not so strange. Okay, if you check your index.js, you might see some little things that are a bit different, but you know, it's still like you can at least comprehend what is happening there, even though you might not get the full scope. All right, are we together? Oluwaseun, can you let me know the particular error you're facing? What's still now? That's fine.
Let me try to share. I hope it works this time.
All right.
So, can you see my terminal now?
Okay, I can see your screen, but I can only see the Zoom dashboard at the moment. Okay, I can see the installation of your packages. So I believe this should work. It might take a while, but it will work. What about line? Can I see your desktop?
Okay. Are you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'll still have to sit into into test tab.
Okay. All right. From there, you can run your npm stat.
Okay, I have done that. I think I have here.
Okay.
Here.
And that's fine. It's fine. Dio, how's it going at your hand as well?
I've also too. I'm starting my dev environment.
You're restarting your system.
No, I'm starting my dev environment. Dev environment.
Let me see. Let's see. Let's see.
Okay.
Israel, please prepare as well.
So this is true. You're saying it's okay.
Mr. Emmanuel, I can see you're just coming in. You're late. All right. Is it loading? Like, okay, just starting development server. All right. Great. What about Mr. Israel?
Sir?
How's
Hello,
it going
sir.
at you? How's it going at your end?
Yeah, it's going fine, but I just reset this and reformat my system, so all the thing I was doing before was gone. So I need to start afresh again.
Okay. Okay. For the sake of clarity, I would love
Yeah,
line to like explain the steps that things we've done this morning to us again for clarity's sake. So please share your screen with us, then you explain, walk us through how we arrived at where we are at the moment.
Okay. So we started off with installing Node.js on our system. And then we ran our command prompt using git bash.
Please show us how we installed the Node.js package.
Okay, Node.js package. Went to the site. Node.js, I think. That is it. Okay, yeah. So we downloaded I don't know which one was downloaded. Is it the current or the recommended? But we downloaded one of them, and then after that, we went to our folder, our tech bridge folder, and we opened this with git bash here. And then when our command prompt opened up, we we typed in create React.
npx create React app. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. npx create React app, and then the name of the folder.
Yeah,
Then we
you
ran
don't,
that.
you don't have to run it again so that it won't take
Yeah,
long.
yes. So we ran that, and when our package is finished installation, we seeded into test app itself, and then we did npm start, and then it ran. It showed us this, and we went back to our. Let me go back to. We went back to our folder, tech folder, and we have our folder, tester folder in it ready. So we opened it with our VS Code, and we have this set. Is that clear enough? Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, correct.
Okay. So this is where we are now. So we have opened it with our VS Code, and our app is running as well. So that's it. Mr. Philip. Mr. Philip. Oh boy.
All right, I'm with you.
Okay. Did you hear all I said?
I missed towards the last part. I mean,
Okay. After we had npm start on after we ran npm start on our command prompt, and it ran and showed us this web page.
yes.
Yeah. So after that, we opened the folder, the tech bridge folder, because now it has in it the test app, which
Yeah.
has node modules, public source, and all that. And so we ran it on our VS Code, which has given us this, what we see here.
Yes.
So that's it so far. Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So, given what we have at the moment, let's minimize the screen. Let's put it on the side. Okay. So let's begin to delete some things that we would not be needing just at the moment. So like your service worker, for instance, just delete it. I'll be coming back to that later. Don't worry about those other things. But you can delete your setup test.js. I'm trying to like declutter the old thing so that we just get what the main things there. You can delete your app.test.js as well. Right. So inside of your app.js, index.js, remove this, remove the entire service worker related stuff. Even service worker itself, remove that. That's on line 5. All right. So after removing all of those things, you still get to see your React application working. So we have the app.css, index.cxs, the index.js. So we have 4 files besides the logo.svg, which as well I think we're going to delete now. All right. So let's go to our app.js. All right. In place of the logo, the image source that we have here, just replace it with a p tag and say, let's say hello. All right. So you can remove the importation on line 2. So if you save it, we have something like that. And let's delete our logo.svg. All right. So at the moment, we have 4 files inside of our source code. Does anyone have any challenge? Let me know, please. That shouldn't take long.
Please, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't get exactly what she was doing. I know she downloaded the Node.js and installed it, but that Git bash, the test app, is it a folder you created or will the thing come automatically? I didn't get it from that place. How do you get that test app folder?
Can you share your screen with me, sir?
Just give me some time, sir. Let me connect.
I'm
But
saying,
I've not started anything. I've not started anything. I just came in now to just log in.
all right. So
Okay, sorry about
if that's the case, I think the best way to capture that moment is that you rewatch the video. But just to give like a brief insight into it, that test app application or that folder, comes after you run that command npx create react app. That's after you've installed your Node.js. So inside of the folder where you want to create your application, right click on that particular folder and git bash here. So inside of that git bash terminal or CMD that comes up, run the code npx create react app. So after the create react app, it's followed by the name of that particular application. And in this case, we gave it test app. That's why test app folder was created in that directory.
Mine is saying operation not permitted.
Your npx is not working.
It's MPS saying operation not permitted, and giving me directory stuff.
All right, you're using a Windows system, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. We'll look into that later. But one thing to be sure, just be sure. Are you sure you've installed your node properly? Like your node version is giving you the correct thing, and your npm version is as well giving you the correct something.
And I have Node in this system. When I was trying to run it, the thing told me I have installation. I have it already. Okay, sir. Let me not take time. Let me just get the steps so that I will do it.
Yeah, just be sure.
After installing this, yes. After doing this, what else will I do?
In that case, after you've installed, it's the same. We are at the same level now. If you've installed the application and you've run it, the npx code, it brings you to this particular folder that we're dealing with in the Visual Studio Code, and that's where everyone is at the moment.
Okay, let me see what I'll do to meet up.
All right. So inside of our source folder, we've removed everything else, remaining like 4: the app.css, the app.js, index.css, and index.js. Right. So what more do we have? So now inside of this particular, what is happening here? Let's go to our public folder and open the index.html. So you'd see some things, some stuff like a regular HTML file. Okay, I can just remove all these comments just to make it a little bit relatable to the eyes. It's not as big as it seems. This is just what we have there. So inside of our HTML file, right here, inside the body, okay, we have this node script. What the node script means is just that, like, if the application happens to be operating on a system or on a browser that JavaScript is not enabled, it tells the individual, like, you need to enable JavaScript to run this particular application. So inside of our div, the div has an ID of root. All right. Most likely that's what it has on your system as well. So this particular line here, the div with the ID of root, is the main guy in this particular HTML file. So now, if you go inside of your index.js, all right, you would see something like get elements by ID root. Okay, what is happening there? This particular React app is telling us that whatever it is, all right, whatever it is that, just for simplicity's sake, all right, let me leave it back. Whatever it is that React is giving to the index.js, do something for us. Pass everything to the root element that has the ID root. So it means that everything that React is giving us is going to be a child of this particular div right here. So everything stays inside this div. Does that make sense to us?
Please repeat yourself.
You said?
Repeat yourself. Like said, repeat yourself. Come again.
All right. Like everything inside of our source folder, all right, is what React uses. This public folder here is just regular HTML. In fact, you can add CSS to it if you want. All right. What is happening inside this source? Everything, the entry point to the source folder is the index.js. So right inside of this index.js, okay, we are importing other tags, like this app, for example. This app that we're implementing, that we're importing on line 4, right here, is from this app.js. And it's similar to a regular HTML file. If you look at it, you know, like it's similar. We have the div, we have an header, we have, you know, the p tag and a tag, etc. So like it's a regular, it looks like a regular, you know, HTML file. However, it's not the regular HTML file. It's the name we call this is JSX. Okay, it looks very much like HTML, but it's not HTML as it's called. All right. So now this particular file, app.js, is what we are importing. So we're importing it. The index.js is the final file, like it's like the entry file into your React application. All right. And that is what we're trying to like. In fact, let me make it more simpler so that you know. Remove this React.street mode from everything. Just remove that. Let me see how that was implemented. All right. So just remove that React.strict mode and you just use this that we have here. So in fact, this index.html.css, delete it. I'm trying to like make this application very bare so that you get the full scope, so that you don't look at it like something that is one big something. Just remove these ones. All right. So this is what you have right here. We have 3 files inside of our source now: app.css, app.js, and index.js. Right. So what is happening here is that the index.js is the entry file to your React application. All right. So this index.js is the one that points to every other component of your React file. So app.js is one of those components. Okay. So inside of app.js, this is what we are returning. We are returning this JSX that has a div, an header, a p tag, and an a tag inside of it. So we imported it inside of our index.js and we told React to render this app file, render it for us. Okay. So that is what is happening here. So in fact, this, for simplicity's sake, you can possibly just, let's just keep this app.js for a while. I would have also, we should delete that one just to show you that app.js and index.js are the main component of this React application. So everything that is coming from this app.js now, okay, is being rendered into the div of this particular element right here. So everything here, at the end of the day, once it compiles it, this particular, everything here is going to be rendered. I'm just showing you how it works. It's going to be rendered inside the div like this. This is like what we are telling it to do for us. But because we want to like dynamically load the components inside, like there are sometimes you want to remove the component, and sometimes you want to like take it back and all. That is why we're using React. Okay, and that's what React does for us. So dynamically load in components. So the loading of those components is kind of like a render. That's what they call it, like, you know, rendering. I don't know if we have an understanding of what this is about. All right. So what we're going to do from here is that let's, inside of our HTML file, in fact, for simplicity's sake, delete every other thing outside the index.js. Okay, so now let's go back. So our previous so I want to like open the previous file that we had. All right, that's our index.html from the last class. Okay, don't forget our index.html from the last class. Copy the entire head, everything inside the head, just copy it out. Okay, then let's go inside of our React application, which is the test app that we've just created here. All right, inside of our public, the index.html, replace it with the tag. Like the edge that we have here, just replace it. Okay. Copy the ed tag inside of the previous HTML class that we did. This ed tag, and paste it inside of your React application, the public folder there, the index.html, then replace the head inside. All right. So let's save. If you save it, you still wouldn't, you know, like the differences are not so obvious. This is what we're going to have. All right. So now let's go inside of our app.js. Okay. And what we want to like do from here is that based off what we have inside of our index.html file, the first thing that we have right there is the header. All right, we have this header, then we have the container. All right, so let's create our header. So let's do it this way. The reason why we're doing this is because we're trying to like break down our application into different components. We have the header and we have the other things right there. So inside of our source folder, let's create a folder again. Let's call it layout. All right. So inside of our layouts, let's create something called header.js. Sorry. Header.js. I'm having issues with. Okay. So inside layouts, let's create header.js. All right. That's what we want to like create. So inside of your header.js, just like our HTML file, as I said, Visual Studio allows us to create using the exclamation mark, the boilerplate. If you press something like RFC, yeah, rather, on your tab, you get something like this. It's a boilerplate. So let me know if you are at the same level with me right here. Inside of your header.js, what we are trying to do here is that we are trying to break down our previous Todos application into different segments. So the first thing that we had there inside of our previous HTML file was like we had an header. So we're trying to create a React component for the header. Then we do the same for every other part of the script as well. Right. All right. So please let me know once you're on the same level with this. We are creating an header.js inside of our source folder. And how did we do that? We did that by creating a new folder called layout inside the source. Then inside this particular source, we created layout. Inside the layout, we created header.js. So this is inside header.js that we are in right now. So let me know if you are this particular stage. Just comment by saying hi. Israel, how's it going? Okay. Dayo is asking if our file has to start with a capital letter. No, it's not. It's not mandatory. It's just in some ways it's conventional, such that the key files or the key files starts with a block letter, right? Like the key files. I mean, those are components themselves. Okay, but if they are, other files, they are not necessarily components or they are not key components themselves. You can, start their name with anything, but it's just for conventional purposes. So that when I'm looking at a React application, I can know the key files to look forward to. Right. That's why it's like that. So Dio, can you explain to us again? Just take us a bit back again. Like I want you to explain how we got to where we are now. I think just to like bring some persons along with us. I think we have Brian, we have Emmanuel as well, just to walk us through again.
Okay. Yeah. Right. So um first of all, you told us to go to our index.j our app.js. So I'm coming. Okay, so in our index.html in this public directory, we have to change this our header, this the header that came with it. I didn't delete mine, I only commented it. This header. So we changed it to the one from our previous exercise. That's the task app we did. So we changed it to this one. So I recopied it from here. I pasted it in this side. Then the next thing we should do is we should create, or should I start all over from way back?
Yes, preferably from the installation angle.
Okay.
After installing.
Okay. First thing I did was this is my tech bridge folder. So I created a folder here named test app. And I just right click. That's for those who use Windows. I right click, then use git patch here. So from here, I cd'd inside my folder test app. So I did cd space test app. Yes. After creating my React folder and everything. Okay, so first thing I did was I created the folder because weekly I did my this thing. So I right clicked, then went to git bash, then I clicked create npx create React app. Then I named it test app. Then when I press enter, it created the folder and everything I needed. So the next thing was I just did code, then full stop. When I press enter, it opened my VS Code for me. So in my VS Code, I opened my terminal. Then I used let me stop this. And when I opened my terminal, I just typed
Excuse me, please. If
yeah.
anyone has any question, please you can do what to ask as well. Like, yeah, just ask your question. You may go on.
Right. Okay, so after installing my React and everything, so I used to start my server, I used npm start. So this is going to start my server. Then it will open my browser for me directly. Then it show those five icon and everything there. So the next thing is you are trying to explain the folder and how they are connected. That's this app.js, index.js, and this index here in the public folder. So you said this root directory here is like our main, like the main, how do I say it? Like it's what is rendering to the display for us, like the main one of the main distributed. So in our source file here, when we click on app.js now, we see exports default app. Then when we enter this index.js, we are going to see where we imported the app. Then it was rendered from this index.js. Then I don't know the way it's passed to this part. So then we were asked to create a folder inside our source folder called layout. So when we created the folder, we create a file called header.js. So in the header.js, we just write RCE, then press
Yes.
enter. It's going to create this boilerplate for us. Then in our index.html, we are going to delete this head file here. When we delete it, we will now import the one we used, the former one, in the former class, which is this one. We copy it there, then we paste it there. I think that's it for now.
All right. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, hello. Sorry. For me, when I
Yeah.
try to run the npm space start, my feedback was an error. npm start. The feedback was an error on my terminal.
Hello, sir.
Okay, maybe it's not in the right directory. It might not be in the right directory.
Mr. Bayo, the question.
Okay.
You can share your screen to see
Okay.
it.
Let me try share it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is npm.
Okay, it is not in the directory. It is not in the directory of your test app. You have to cd inside your test app first.
Okay. Let's try it now.
No, the test app.
Yeah.
Okay.
What are you doing? They gave you upstairs. You not eat. Now you're taking people.
Oluwaseun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, to save you all this stress, the test tab is already open right here on your folder here. Just right click on this tab and open in terminal.
What is it?
Like on your left, your test app is already open as a folder here.
Okay, yeah.
Just right click and open in terminal here. Okay, if you can't open in terminal, just click on it. Just click on the file, open the file itself. All right, try right clicking on this folder now. Let's see.
Oh, ní fún about it.
It should go.
All right. So that option is not available. So you can do it in a more way than you were doing it before. Yep. All right. So, but once that is done, the error is coming from your desktop name. You wrote desktop, and so just correct that. And let's just move on. But that's the error.
Okay, just move. Yeah. I will continue from there. Thank you.
Okay. So moving on, this is what we have inside of React. I think on Dio, I said RFC. I don't know where you saw RCE or RC whatever. It's not the same thing as what I'm saying. This is what I saw in your system. All right. And we're not trying. All right. We're not creating a class-based component. It's actually that has used to be the case prior to this time, but over time, like React has moved from general class-based component to functional components and hooks, etc. So this is a bit, not that it wouldn't work if we use this method, but it's a bit not the way in which React as a project is moving. So RFC, please, and you get something like this. All right, so now inside of our project file, this particular div that we have here now, just do well to copy the particular head that we have here right inside of this div here. Okay. So now, something like this, okay? However, this is okay, it's well formatted now. So something like this, all right? Inside the header, okay? So now, let's move into our app.js, all right? Now let me see what this app.css is all about. All right, so everything inside this app.css, just comment it out, or best just delete it, okay? So I think to save us time, what we'll do here, let's just have a, all right. So let's move on. So this is what we have inside here at the moment, nothing special. All right. So now inside our app.js now, or app.js, let's do something. Import, all right, header from where now? We're importing from layout / header, okay? That is where we're importing our header from. So then this particular header that you can see here, then let's pass in our header. Oh, let's do it this way. Just remove the entire app, everything inside. There is no use for that at the moment. So then pass in our header to it. Okay, like that. So if you were to save, you would see something like this on your screen. So you can see what is happening here now. We are passing in our header inside the app.js. So on the screen, the header becomes the first thing that the React application communicates across. Are we following?
Yeah, you too fast.
Okay. All right. This is our header.js. All right. For every React file, you have to import React. Okay, this particular line, you are importing React. All right. So what exactly is happening here is a function. Okay, it's a regular function. A function that has a name called header, and it's returning something. So what is being returned is something that looks like an HTML file. Okay, let's just go with that for simplicity's sake. It's returning an HTML component. You understand? Like regularly, this particular HTML would have been added to our index.html, which is inside our public file here. You get, which is, we would have, passed it here ourselves. All right. But because we want to like dynamically feed our HTML file, we don't want to pass it here directly. All right. So that's why we gave it to a React system to manage for us. So depending on what we need per time, supply it to the div that has an ID called root. Okay, and that is what is happening. And that's what is happening in the index.js file. So the index.js file is the first file or the last file, depending on how you look at it. It's the file that tells or that communicates with the HTML file. Okay, the HTML file is index.js. All right, so this index.html, this index.js file is the one that communicates the React component, which in this case is everything is inside app. All right. However, if you go to app.js, inside app.js, we also imported header. We can also import multiple things, header, footer, and all of those things can be imported inside the app. But at the end of the day, index.js is communicating what everything inside application, this app.js here, is communicating it to the HTML file. And how is it doing that? Look for this particular element, document.get element by ID in the HTML file, and append to it or render to it the app component. What is inside the app component? This right here is what is inside the app component. Is it making any sense? Lion, do you get it better now?
Yes, yes. Do you have any style in your app.css?
At the moment, no, non-applicable, just the one from our regular style.css from the previous class. This one right
Okay.
there, just copied it. I removed everything inside the app.css and replaced it with the one that we had in the previous class.
Sir, please, if I may ask.
Yes, please.
I'm trying to catch up anyway. But what is the difference between that app.css and the app.js?
All right. Okay. The app.js now is the main folder. All right. Yeah. The app.css is the one that contains this header. Let's look at it this way. This is just hypothetical, but you could have it such that you have the header, and you will see, we'll do that in a moment. We have the header now. You can have something like footer. All right. You can have something like to-dos form. You can have something like sign up to newsletter. Okay. All of them stacked on one another like that. So at the end of the day, we are communicating across these things to index.js. So index.js is going to pack everything inside the app.js and render. However, this app.css, if it's even disturbing us, let's call it let's call it styles.css. I think that's better. Style, no, not this. This is the wrong file. Let's change this from app.css to style so that it's very similar to what we had earlier. So style.css. So now let's uncomment this. We are importing styles. S-T-Y-L-E, style.css. So what is happening is that we are telling React to look inside of our styles.css and import everything inside. So our styles affect what is inside the header. It affects everything inside this app folder. That's what is happening. The app and the style.css now is just a styling, just like a regular style that we write in HTML or CSS. Does that make any sense to you, Mr. Manu?
Yes, then what is the essence of that index.js?
The index.js is the entry. It's the point that connects our React files, all of the things that we wrote inside this app.js. all right? And every other thing that we imported to it, it is the one that connects it to the index.html file, okay, that we have here inside the public. Does that make sense to you now?
Yes, yes.
All right. So this is what we are communicating to. We are communicating to this particular div here that has an ID of root. And that's what index.js is doing. Okay. Get the element by ID root and, you know, render this. If I were to show you, let's change this to app now. Let's change this to React application and save. You would see that we got an error. It says that target container is not a DOM element. Okay, it's what it's in essence is saying that, oh boy, I cannot find what you're looking for. Now let's take this React application name, let's copy it and take it to our index.html, this particular ID. Then let's change it to React application. Let's save, and once again, it's working. All right. So that is that. What is the next thing? The next thing in place, looking for our previous class, after the header, we had a container that had, you know, activity list and all. All right. So let's do it this way. Let's copy our header. Let's copy our container rather.
Sorry, please, before we continue,
Yeah.
I can't see my work on the DOM. I can't see it on the web page. When I check the console, it's telling me that header is defined but not used.
Can you share your screen with me?
Okay. Sorry about that one.
Just make your React your Visual Studio. Can you make it full screen for a moment?
Okay.
All right. Okay.
So this is my
Okay, this is your header. Then let's go to your app.js. All right. So now what you are passing should be header. You can see online too, what you imported was header, each with a block letter.
okay.
All right. So let's save this.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. So like Lions case, because I was planning to, like, you know, show us that later on, was that if you look at your console, like your browser console, actually, you would see some errors there. Okay, at my own hand, if I open my console right here by inspecting, you'll see some error like, did you mean class name? All right. What that means is that, like I told us, the stuff that looks like HTML to us, this particular things that we are seeing here, is not like a regular HTML per se. It looks like HTML, but it's a bit different. All right. So inside of this is called a JSX. JSX. So inside of it, there's no classes. We have class name. All right. So instead of class in HTML, normally inside of the JSX, you use class name. So if you save that, you would see that your error is gone. All right. So let's move on. So if we go back to our previous project to draw inspiration, after the after our header, inside the body, we had the container, this particular container. So let's copy the container, all right? And let's go into our file structure once again. Inside of our layout here, let's create another one. Let's call it body. Better still, let's call it activity.js. So the name of this particular file is called activity.js, and like we do. All right. So inside of this place, let's paste what we just got back from. Yeah. All right. Let's save. You can remove the first and the last div since it's all as one parent element. So one thing to do here to confirm is you can change your class names from your class to class names. So one easy way to do it is to go to your file right here, the navigation bar on Visual Studio. You can look for edit and find replace. All right. So you have class right there. And you can replace it with class name. All right. Class and class name. So you click on replace all button here. And if you click on replace all, it replaces all classes with class name right there. So you can do that as well. So let's save it. So upon saving this now, let's go to our app.js. All right. Your activity.js, just copy the entire container from our previous work inside. So now what we are doing is import activity from our layout and activity. All right. So one thing that we now want to do here is to return our header. Okay. And beneath our header, we want to return activity. All right. But the problem with this kind of way is that for every React component, everything has to be inside a parent. Every component has to be wrapped up inside one container. There needs to be a container for everything. So at the moment, we have header and activity, but both of them are not inside any container. All right. So you can create a div for them, all right, and place both of them inside. However, React makes it possible for us by creating this there's a false component called fragment that React allows us to use. So you can wrap everything inside a fragment. A fragment does not, like, it doesn't really have any function other than, like it's a pseudo element that allows you to wrap our our various components inside a common container. So the fragment is just like a a container. All right. So that if you do that, then you have something like this. Oluwaseun, are you getting it?
Yes, I'm following, and I will see watch the video later.
All right. Israel, Brian, Emmanuel, Dio. Is it making any sense?
I'm getting an error.
All right. So what about line? Are you getting it as well?
I'm having errors in my activity components. I'm having, maybe I should see your code again for the activity.
Or what is the error about?
My div is saying that there is no corresponding closing tag, and I've checked, everything has corresponding tags.
May I see?
Okay. So here, I'm having this error.
All right. Only on line 20, like try and create a new one. After line 20, create a new line.
Any closing tag?
Yes. Let me see. Just your slash. No, just your slash. All right. I just want to like see if that's the case. Try and create another one again. Let me see. I'm just using that to debug. Don't worry.
Yeah.
All right. Try and create another one again.
Okay.
Then let's see another one again, just to be sure. All right. No, wait. I'm using Visual Studio to debug because if you needed another closing tag, like Visual Studio would like try and point that out to you. Like once you press the the symbol, the less than symbol with your slash, like it already
Okay.
gives suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what exactly is the problem coming from? So for simplicity's sake, so just let's go back to your file. Just delete everything inside here. I don't know where the problem is. But since we copied it from somewhere, we can just get it back from there. All right, let's go back to your previous HTML file, the one where we are copying it from.
Yeah.
All right, so let's copy. All right, let's paste it inside.
Where should I have this?
No, that's not where the problem is from. And
Okay, I should close this. Sorry.
oh wait, you didn't close your input?
No, I didn't.
No, like even on a regular HTML file, like I do close it. So yeah, you need to close those ones. Your input on line 9, you need to close it line 9. Yeah, that's where the problem came from.
Thank you.
So even on a regular HTML file, it should be a practice. You should always close your tags. All right. So this is mine, and even if it were my normal HTML file that we had here, like it should be a practice for you to close your tag. So it's not necessarily maybe when you're writing React that you should close it. You should always close you can see this HR tag, just close them. Like it's best practice, right? So, all right. So the best part of React is like almost everything is filled with event listeners. So it's unlike the regular vanilla JavaScript where you have to like be writing a hard event listener to these things or that. Like by itself, it's filled with like legions of event listeners. All right. So now inside of our application, so the first thing that we have here that we need rather is the first thing we need to get right is this our list, because we need to be able to like create our list from there. So first things first, let's create our component here, which is a list of activity. And how do we get that? Let's go back to our control.js. Let's just copy our activity from here. All right. So I copied my activity from control.js. So I brought them in here. So I have activity list right there. All right. Okay. So in this case, what we want to do is that when you want to like write like a function inside of your JSX, which in this case like very similar to HTML, you use your curly braces right there. All right. And we're writing a function. Okay, this is just like a kind of arrow function. Like it's a one of JavaScript way of like simplifying the way functions have been written. So right. So do something for us here. I'll be asked you. Let's make it simpler. All right. We have a arrow function. Excuse me, please. Hello, good morning. Yes. Okay. Okay, sir. Apologies for the break in transmission. All right, so your curly braces there, and let's call our activity list. All right, so activity list dot for each, which we already know how it works. So for each, and let's pass in our activity. That is the name of a placeholder. All right, and do something for us. Return. Okay, return something for us. What do we want to return in this case? What we want to return is our li tags. Right? Do not forget that is what we did inside of our regular JS file. Like we're trying to like create these li tags. All right, li tags with class name, list group items, etc. So return an li tag for us with class name. All right, the class name of list group, with the class name of list group item. All right, so inside of this li tag now, we want to pass in what? Our activity dot title. Okay, so if we were to save this now, okay, all right, for some reason, let me call map just to be sure. All right, so map is one returning for us because we are obviously, the obvious reason for that is because the for each doesn't return a list back to us. All right, like it tries to make a change to, it tries to work on the existing list, whereas map, you know, like returns an actual array to us back. All right, so that is what we put to use here. So now this is, as you can see, like this allows us for like easier manipulation than, you know, the regular HTML file that we had to like create. So inside, right there inside of your, you know, GSX file that looks like HTML, but we can call it HTML for simplicity in this case. Inside of your HTML file, you can write your JavaScript directly inside that, you know, allows for manipulation of that DOM. So are we getting the same thing? That your line and all? Oluwaseun, please. Line, did you get it?
I've not gotten it. I've not gotten it.
Okay, like share your screen with me so that you just explain to me what you've understood so far. Then I'll correct where it needs to, but just share with me. Yeah.
I got lost. I didn't know where you copied the activity list to as first of all, and I just got lost there because I was looking for how to.
The activity list is coming from, you've copied already from the previous control.js, right? All right, just paste it on top, like on top of your export. It could as well be inside, but just because it has nothing on React file, so just put it there. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Let me go back to seeing your code so I can complete the function.
Okay. No, try and write it yourself actually. But in this case, we're using a map a map array method rather. Yeah. Instead of for each, we're calling a map. Yeah. A map. All right, go on.
That's all I can remember.
Okay. So now inside of the list tag, we are trying to create a list item. Okay, that means
Yeah.
for each item inside of the array list that we are mapping through, create for us a list item tag. So that's why we're calling on the li tag now.
Okay. The li like this.
Yes, the li tag.
Okay.
It means a list item. All right.
Yeah.
So inside of the li tag, what we are filling inside is the activity title. And how do we access that? Don't forget, whenever you want to like access like a defined object or like a defined variable, yeah, use your curly braces. So inside of your curly braces now, pass in the name of what you're trying to access, which is activity. Now dot the title. That's what we're trying to like extract out. All right. And do not forget that we need to give this li tag a class. So, and how do we give classes in class names in React?
I'm going to add it here as an attribute.
Yes.
Is it list item group that was
The name is list group item.
this group item? Okay.
All right. So let's save this and let's see how it goes.
Unreflected. This is still hasn't reflected yet.
Okay. Can you, for some reason? Okay. Now let's go back. Let's go back. I think you're missing on that thing again. Let's go to your app.js.
Okay.
You didn't import.
The import activity.
All right. So now you have to like, it still wouldn't work. Why? Because you imported activity, but you didn't tell React what it should do with activity.
Yeah.
All right. So now save that and you still get another error again, but it's fine. It's for learning purpose. So the reason why it wouldn't work. Now, just wait. This is the particular thing I was trying to explain at that time. That's why I needed this error to happen so I can use it to explain. You know, it tells us that, you know, there's a passing error there. Okay. Everything needs to be wrapped in an enclosing tag. That is the way JSX works. All right. Like everything needs to be inside a container. So in this case, you have header and you have activity, but both of them are not inside. Like there needs to be a guide that houses them together. So let's go back to your code now. So React created this particular element for us that allows for things like that to happen. So inside of your import React right there on line 1,
Yeah.
try
Okay.
and put a comma, a comma before that, then import fragment. Okay. That is essentially the function. Now wrap fragment around header and activity, like with both of them inside fragment.
Fragments.
All right. So let's save it now.
Okay. An expression.
Okay. Let's go back. I'm seeing some Okay, activity. Let's go back to activity.js. Let's see what is happening there. Okay. Let me see the error again.
Said expected an assignment of function call and instead saw an expression. As
All right. All right. Let's go back. All right. All right. This particular one here.
Hello?
Yeah. Do you have something for us?
Line 39.
Line 30. Okay, like a return statement should be there. Thank you. So your li tag, wrap it inside return. Then your bracket, open your bracket and close it. Just return, open, then yeah, close it at the end of your yeah. All right, let's see. We missed that earlier. All right. So okay, that's another thing that you need to like do. You can see another error is coming up there that each child in a list should have a unique key. So let's go back to your code. So now that li tag, let's give it a key attribute. And the key attribute, where we're going to get the value from, in this case, since the index of the elements are unique, let's extract the index from map. You can extract the index from map by, this particular map function. All right. This map function that you're seeing here.
yeah.
You can extract index from it by activity comma index.
Activity
Yes, just scroll up again. Like back to where we were working before now. Yes, on line 38, activity comma index.
Okay.
Yeah. So from there, you're extracting the index out. All right. So now we are passing the index to this key. So you can, you can pass index directly. You don't need to like,
You said I should do what?
activity.index is not what we are calling. Just passing index directly, not activity.index.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
So it's clear. So Oluwaseun, share your screen with me, please. Let's see what you have.
I think I'm going to go back to work on them later. My screen is I'm not really done much because I lagged behind when we started.
Yeah, okay. Dayo, can I say yours? I think what really happened today was that a lot of us didn't, we didn't start together at the same time. And that was because we weren't available like at 10 o'clock. The class was supposed to start by 10. Okay. And latest by 10:10. Okay, that's 10 minutes after the starting time. Like I begin the class because there won't be any point waiting or wasting other people's time. All right.
I think my own situation was my was installation of the test app. So by the time I got my installed, you had moved on to the next item.
Okay. Okay. All right. Dayo, how about you?
I'm coming. Line system is kind of hanging now. But I've done it. I'm getting the same thing.
All right. So, Emmanuel, how's it going at your hand as well? Hello, Emmanuel. Okay, what about Brian? I know Israel said he's lost, but he will watch the video later. But how has it been so far? Are you getting anything, Israel, from your own end?
Yeah, I'm getting something, but I'm not able to practice. I'm just watching how they're doing it.
So where exactly are you lost? Let me know.
From the beginning.
All right, let's do it this way. Dayo said the system is hanging. Lion, let's do it this way. Go over what we've done today again.
Sir, the error for the key is different.
You said?
The error for my key attribute stuff.
Okay, you're still having an error.
Yeah, that's the attribute error.
Let me see. Share your screen. Let's see.
Okay.
What is the error here?
LI is nice.
Okay, this is L1. Let's go back. It's telling us that you wrote L1.
Yeah.
L1, yes. LI.
Oh. Okay. I've done that.
Right. Okay. So Line, let's go over what we've done today again from the beginning. Like how we installed Node.js and how we got to where we are at the moment. So please share your screen with us so that you explain to us again.
Okay.
If possible, you can create a new application from scratch for this explanation. I want us to get it. I don't like the way in which just few persons are moving on.
Okay, so we started with downloading Node.js, and after we downloaded Node.js, we went to our terminal.
Please, for anyone that has questions, please do well to ask your questions as well. I'm listening to your questions and I'm listening to your line as well. So if there's anything she can answer, I'll do well to come in.
And then we checked for the version of our node. I think this is right. It was done. Node. Yeah, so my version is 14.3. I think that's the latest. And then we checked for a version of the package npm 6.14. So what next we did was we went to our folder. Okay, so I should create another. Okay, I could still create a folder in TechBridge. Can I do that?
Yes, or better, so you can create a new application. All right.
Okay.
So instead of the test tab, you can create another. Just give it another name of any other app that you feel like we can.
Okay, so let's create a new folder. I call it first React. First React. What next? What next? So we're going to open that with git bash here. Git bash here. Yeah. And then what we'll do here is create a React app, and we'll do that by entering create React npx create React app, npx create React app, and then the file name. Let's call it React app. So we're going to run that. It's going to take a while, but it would install.
I think you have a bit of problem. You can create dash React app, like there's a dash in between create and React.
Yes. It's React app.
So please, let's follow along for those persons that missed the explanation earlier. This is another time for us to go over it together as a class.
It's installing the packages.
So what is happening is that React is trying to like install, various dependencies, the things that your app needs to run. So these are the things that have been installed here. Brian, Oluwaseun, are we getting it?
Yes, I am following and getting it.
All
I
right.
think I got up to this stage, so I'm waiting for her to move on to the next one.
All right. And what about Brian?
So I'm still watching, Sha. I'm not with my laptop here. So.
All right. Was it making any sense? Is it making
Yes,
sense?
yes.
All right. What about Mr. Israel?
Yeah, I'm getting it. I'm getting it.
All right. Mr. Emmanuel?
I've got it. Where I missed it was the command. I wasn't putting dash.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, the installation process might take a while, but will soon be over. So, You can take a bit of break from here. Let's just see, like in 3 minutes or 4. I think it should be done. So to make it whole, we can just take 5 minutes break. I think everyone, let's take about 5 minutes break, and we can come back again.
Yes. Nobody in this house. Peace of God be in this house in Jesus' name. Amen.
Welcome.
Rema,
Welcome.
how are you?
Fine.
Congratulations. Thank God.
Welcome.
It is
So we
faithful.
have like 2 more
How are
minutes.
they?
Yeah, fine. They're inside.
Where are they going, Pepe?
They're coming, though. They're inside.
We have like 2 more minutes. Go. We have about a minute more.
Okay, so That's finished. So what we do next is we change directory. We change directory into first React. First React. Why? Okay, sorry. I'm changing directory into React app. React app. All right, so we are there now. So open our VS Code. Open our folder with VS Code. Okay. So in our folder, we have our node, we have our public folder, we have our source folder as well. So what we're going to do is to clean up the React app so we can use it, we can type in our own code. So we'll start by deleting a lot of the folders we don't need. Delete service worker, delete setup test. That's what we have in our source folder. So for the app, the CSS, since we want to use our previous class codes, we can clean up this. And for consistency's sake, we can change this to.
Sorry, a quick one. Sorry, to Mr. Philip. So how do I navigate from the terminal to my Visual Studio Code? I try using the code space dot. It's not working.
Okay. For at the moment,
Yeah.
I think you have to add. I think in your system you have to add code to path, which I think it's missing. So I think right inside of your Visual Studio Code, right from inside, press Control Shift plus P.
Control Shift
P. Yeah.
Control Shift P.
Yeah, I think you see something like shell command install code in path.
Control Shift.
Inside of your Visual Studio Code.
Yeah, there's nothing coming up.
Lion, can you press Control Shift P on your own hand? Let me see. Yeah, something like this. Then try and search for shell command.
Okay.
SHELL. Yeah. So like that one. Okay, this particular don't do anything further, Lion. This is what I'm asking for from Oluwaseun's side. You know, that's
okay. Control Shift P, right?
yes, P for like parent.
Papa.
Yeah, parents and all of those things. Yeah.
Okay. I think on my side it has to be Command Shift P.
Should see something like shell command install code for path.
Okay. I've seen shell command install code in path, right?
Yeah, install code in path.
Okay.
So once you've done that, just
Yeah,
like
it's done. I've
yeah,
launched the Visual Studio Code.
yeah, you can then try and open your terminal again and press code. And code then it does something. I think that should work.
I've done that. I've done it. I'm now on the test app on the Visual Studio Code.
Yeah, it's working now, right?
Yeah, it's working.
All right, fine.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, Lion, please go on.
Okay, so this is going to serve as our styles.css. So we might just go ahead to change it. And then in our public folder, We're also going to, okay, before we move on, let's run our let's run our app to see what we have. So I'm going to be using my terminal on my VS Code. So that will be npm start. So I'll wait for it to run. We will delete some of the folders we don't need. Okay, there'll be error. I'm suspecting there'll be error because we deleted a lot of things. Yeah. While it's still loading, let's go ahead and delete. Okay, in our index.html, we would remove since it's index.html. Index. Okay, index.js rather. Okay, yeah. We're going to remove, since we've deleted service worker folder, we have to remove that and then clear up this. And also the strict mode, remove all that. This is just to, nice. Okay, so let's see what we have on our, okay, fail to compile. The error here is can't resolve app.css. Can't resolve app.css. App.css. Okay, I think app.css, we have to, app.css.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, app.js. Okay, so we're going to remove it from here because we don't have it anymore. So let's see if we still can resolve. Okay, the logo. Okay, we're also going to remove it from here. And okay, let's change that to a paragraph and say that says hello world. Okay, so let's look at our app. It has the text hello world here. Okay, I think we still have to remove some things. Okay, remove this paragraph. So what do we do next? This is our app. Okay. Our app is going to carry, is a compilation of other components. So we might as well not need this. Might as well not need that.
Please excuse me for a moment, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Dio.
Sir.
Like, is your system back on now?
Yes.
And it's, yeah. All right. So, Len, please, you can hand over to Dio, like, once you feel like you're very much, just in a few minutes, just wrap up whatever it is you want to do, and just point that, then tell Dio to continue from wherever you stop, anywhere you've deemed fit.
Okay. So, like I said, the app.js, the index.js actually is the entry point because it is, I really didn't get the explanation there, but I just got that it's the entry point. And then the app.js, from my understanding, is a compilation of other components if you create a new folder, let's go ahead to create a new folder. When we create a new folder, let's call it gallery. And in the gallery, we'll create a file and we say photo.js. So we have created a folder, and what we do here is to create a boiling plate, and it's going to be a functional component, which is, and we're using the shortcut RCE, which brings up the boilerplate for us. And then if we want this component to appear in our web page, we have to ensure that we import it into our app.js. So it's going to be something like, after we import it here, after we import, let's say photo from gallery photo, what we do here is to bring down our photo, tell the app.js to display photo. So, Mr. Dio, over to you. Maybe you could go ahead to explain the things I didn't explain better. For instance, the index.js. I also need clarification on that as to what Mr. Philip explained in that area, and then other things too. Thank you.
So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so
See your screen. Thank you.
So far, we're done with the job. Okay, so the index.js.
Please, can you speak louder? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so the index.js, what is doing that? It is taking, for example, when we look at this.
Daniel, please increase your volume.
What is going on here is the index.js. In our index.js, we are collecting these routes. Our index.js is like an output point for whatever we have in our source to this public. So this public is like what is displaying everything we need in our app. So if you look at this now, when we change this document.getElement by ID, if we change it to, let's say, React app, so when we save it, our code is going to break. It's going to break. Look at it. So the one way we can fix it is either we change it back to our what it was before, or we go to this index.html in our public folder. Then we change this route here to React app. So when we save, when we save this, we have this back, or it is back. So that's what the index.js is. Hello?
Yeah, we're together.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can hear you.
so
We can hear you.
okay, so the index.js, that's just what it's doing. It's like an export. It's like linking what we have in our source here to this public folder, and the public folder is what we are seeing on display. That's why we have to change the header here, to the new one, the one we had before, where we had this import bootstrap and this, which we did in our last class. So now we created a folder. Let me create a new folder here called, let's say, um okay, photos, whatever. Then we create a new file in the photos called photo, so capital letter, .js. So we have this file now. Then we can use our boilerplates. We can use RCE to create our boilerplates. Then inside this div, let's say I do h1. Sorry. So I create h1, then close it. Then I say hello.
Daya, please, as against the RC, okay,
Yeah.
like we're using RFC here.
I think I'm making mistake. I'm used to that. That's why.
All right,
I'm
please,
making that
RFC,
mistake.
like we're using functional based component, React hooks. That's
I'll
what.
change that now.
All right.
RFC. I actually confused them. So if you look at this new folder I created and we use our boilerplate, it is saying export default function photo. So instead of us writing this over like import React from React, export default function photo, all these things. So the boilerplate creates everything for us once and for all. So I want to just quickly do an example. Let's say I write h1, sorry. Then I say hello, yeah. So once I save this guy, for me to be able to use it, for it to be able to display in my app, let me comment this out. For me to be able to save in my app, so for me to be able to save it, I'll have to import it into this place on the header here. So I'll say import. So import the file name is photos. So I'll import to photos from, then /. I'll change the directory. If you see it, VS Code has made it easier for me. When I use the dot and /, it showed me the folders that are in this same folder that this thing is present. So we have the layout folder and photos folder. So I'll go to the photos folder. Then when I click on / again, this is the only file inside, and I press enter. So if I want to make use of, I will come down here inside this div class app. Then I'll use it here. Let's say open my div photos, then close it. So when I save this file now and I check my browser, this is what's showing. So whatever folder I create, I have to import it. Whatever file I create, my JS, I have to import it into my app.js, because app.js is what you are seeing. It's one that is rendering whatever you are seeing. So I can put them. So I'll put them on this thing. Put it to be able to display it. I'll use it this way as the component. So in case if there are now more than one, like here now we have header activity and everything like that, and it's plenty because when you get to a point, it might give an error. I don't really know that part. So the way we can do that, we can make everything together. We can join them together. put them in a fragment. You can put them in a fragment. So one way you can do it is you can say React, you put command then add fragments, then use that fragment stuff. But me, I prefer it this way. Instead of me doing it like this, I just use this empty open and close. So when I save this file now, sorry. So when I save this file and I check here, so whatever I have there is what's displayed. So they're like components. If I look at it, this header here is the first one. So this header here is the first one, which is this green. Activity is what I have here. Then my photos, which I wrote, this is it here. So whatever file, hello?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead. Yeah, Mr. Go ahead.
So whatever file I want to display, whatever file I want to display, all I just need to do is put it in my app.js, then render it together like this. But I have to import it first. So I think that's all I know for now.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
Does anyone have any questions so far about what has been done?
And Dayo
Yes,
asked,
okay, go ahead.
okay. Dayo asked in the chat why we remove strict mode in index.js. Yeah, I would like to know that too.
Okay. So, one moment. Let me share my screen. All right. So the reason why I removed the strict mode, I think that was in the index.js file, right?
Yes.
All right. The reason is because the React.strict mode actually has nothing on the UI. It's it's for debugging purposes, right? Like it's so that when you have an error, like on the components, like it can help you pinpoint exactly where the error is coming from. But if you can actually look at the console, if you can, like look at the console of your browser very well, like you'll be able to like really easily debug wherever the issue is coming from. But the use strict mode largely is for debugging purposes. It does not show any UI. There's nothing on the UI. By UI, I mean the user interface, or like it's not displaying anything. Okay, it's just to like whenever there's an error, you can easily trace it back to where it's coming from. So that's the purpose. So the reason why I removed it was because I wanted to like make the code look less technical. I just wanted something straightforward. Okay, that was why I removed it early on. So if you still want to like add it, it's fine. Okay, the reason why I removed it was just because I didn't want it to look scary to all of us, and I wanted it to be on a one line. That was why I removed it, so that everything will appear on a single line here. So that was the goal. All right. I think
Hello?
another question. Was it Israel that was trying to ask question, or Emmanuel? Please go on. Hello, Mr. Israel. Are you with me?
No, I said I'm cool. I'm cool. I wanted to ask because I was not hearing before, so I wanted to ask. That I was not hearing before, but I'm cool. Now I'm cool with all the explanation.
Okay. So like all right. If that's the case, I'll be. so that we are all on the same level. All right, this particular test application would be, where's my Git ignore file? All right, let's call it, let's, inside of my package.json, I'm changing this test app to Todos app, just Todos app. So what I want to do is I want to push this to like GitHub so that everyone can clone what we have at the moment, and you can have a copy of it. Test app. Let's just rename this, rename to Todos app. All right. So right there, I'll go to my GitHub page. You don't have to do the same. All you need to do is just to clone. Right. Let's create a new one. Let's call it Todos React. All right. So public. No. Okay, let's copy that. And I'll go to my terminal. Sorry, I don't like to use Visual Studio's terminal. That's why I do all of this. You can do the same thing inside of your terminal right there. So like I'm creating my Git remote add right. So I'm committing my, and my message is that let's call it sorry, initial class push. There's a lot of things we don't need right there, but all right. So git push. I'm pushing to my origin. Origin is the name we're giving to GitHub in this place, and we're pushing to the master branch. So my username. And for the password, sorry, it's actually a very long one. It's those kind of password that you wouldn't like to make mistakes, because the fear of going back is, well, and it actually failed. All right. Get push origin master. All right. All right. So I've just pushed it to GitHub now. So you have all of these things right here. So I'll be sharing the link to this particular repository. So I'll be posting on the chat to everyone. A link to the repository. All right, I just posted it on the channel, and the link to the code as well. And the link to Git as well has been dropped. So you can clone it directly by coming here to this particular page. This link right here. Then you can git clone this particular repository. Or better still, if you want to, you can also, like, have a copy for yourself by clicking on the fork icon there. So when you click it, it forks it to your own repository. So you have a copy of that particular. So, like, I want for people that don't have the code that we are where we are at the moment. If you don't have it, so please do that immediately so that everyone is on the same level. So I think in that case, I'm speaking to persons like Israel, persons like Emmanuel as well. Okay, please do well to copy. So if that is the case, we'll be left with Brian. Brian said he doesn't have his computer with him at the moment, but he's following. So please, Israel and Emmanuel, update me on the situation of things. So I'll be moving on from here, from where we stopped. So I believe we all have a better grasp of what we're doing now. So now moving on, we have from where we. Okay, let me minimize this so that we can put both of them. So what we're trying to achieve is what we had in the previous class as well. So if we go back to what we had in the previous class, besides the activity itself, we had some what was it called? The delete button over there as well. All right, so we need to add that as well and give it a class of activity item. So this activity item is the one that houses both the li tag, rather both the span and the delete button. So let's go back to our activity.js now, because I encourage every one of us to have the same copy of code at the moment. All right. So moving on. So right inside of this return statement here, So inside of our li tag, instead of passing the title directly like this, we created a div, okay, that houses everything. And this div, we're given the class name of activity item. All right. So this particular activity title, we're going to place it inside the span. All right. That's what we're doing. Placing inside the span. And we also have our button right here. Button. Don't worry, we'll pass our value to it. Let's call it delete. And let's give it a class name of btn danger. All right. So if we were to save this, okay, I have an error here. Okay, I'm trying to look for where the problem is coming from. Okay. I don't know in particular what I did, so I'm just trying to see where exactly the problem came from. Hmm. Oh, I just lost my. All right. I have an idea of what is going on. I think it has to do with the fact that I renamed the application. And by the way, like it's actually very useful for you to like know how to like search for problems. You know, like it's not every time. Okay, it's not every time that you have to like know everything that is happening. Again, and there are some things that has to do with suggestions. Like what I'm saying now, that it looks like it's the case because I renamed the application. It's not because I'm reading it from here. All right, because that is not what the person is saying. But given the things that the guy here is saying, like it gave me an hint on what could be the issue in my own case. All right, like so, like knowing how to like search for the errors that you're facing can help you dissect your own situation. So I think this is where the app is coming, where the problem is coming from. Like the whole naming of things, I had to rename the app. No, well, all right. Let's do this. For some reason, deleting that and so moving on. Before that one finishes, let's just be sure. Let me quickly do this. So like we are returning now, the return statement, since it's not a single line, it makes sense to like put it inside the opening and inside the brackets rather. So, all right, inside of our li tag, we place the div inside, div that has a class name of activity item. So right inside the div, we have a span, all right, and inside the span this is where we are placing our activity title. So I'm removing it from here, I'm placing it inside, and we have our button. So for a moment, let's just leave it like delete and give it a class name of BTN danger. That's just to ensure the red nature. So this guy is still installing, so let's save it. So this is what we have at the moment. So, but is anyone having similar problems to mine case? So while this stuff is still loading, you do not have to wait until you are like a guru, like in writing codes before before you start putting yourself out there. Uh, Before you start putting yourself out there for like let's say works or like for job things. So I don't know if that is gonna like apply to anyone at the moment, but do not wait till like you are able to like write the whole of Twitter before you start feeling like you're doing something. Okay, like the moment that you are able to like understand the concept about what we're doing, so like you can see it's working at, yeah, so it just has to do with the use of the issue, like I renamed my application there and all of those things. So like being able to dissect that based on what people are saying, you can see like this person is saying that blah 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 directory structure and all. So the guy was talking about the configuration of my application, and instantly the way he pointed that, okay, it's about the configuration of the application, I remembered that I changed the name of my application, which is part of the configuration. So from there you're able to like nail down to where the problem might be coming from. If I were you know be the one debugging this on my own, I might not be able to like fully know where I'm supposed to like fix that in real time. So, and that's why we have platform like this, Stack Overflow. It's not just for you to like learn alone. Like even if you yourself were the one that have a solution, like feel free to like communicate that across to someone. I wish I started doing that earlier on, because for me, I just felt like Stack Overflow is all about going there and getting answers from there. But over time, I discovered that, which was actually late for me, because I felt like I didn't have started earlier, I would have helped a lot more people. All right. This is like my account, for example. Like this is my name right here, and someone was telling us like they have a problem here, and you just feel like it's something that you're part of a community that is providing value back to others. So like with the little things that you are posting right here, providing solutions to people, you'll be surprised at the numbers of people that you can help. They go into their thousands of people that you've been able to like touch with your answers and all. So like Stack Overflow is a very, very resourceful platform for you to like look for solutions, yes, but as well, if you happen to come across any problem right there that you can solve, like just contribute. Okay, most of the problems out there, like as in the classical problems, have been answers have been given to them given the age of the platform, but just do well to like answer the ones that you feel like you can answer. All right, so back to the code. All right, so like we have it working like this. Let me know if you have any challenge. I believe this is how you should be getting it. So if you have the same thing showing like this at your own end, please comment I, so I can know. Just say hi on the chat. All right, great. Who else? Oluwaseun, are you getting the same result?
Yes, yes, yes. But I'm doing it on my separate on my Windows system. My Mac is giving me issues.
Okay. What about Israel?
It's hanging, so I need to restart it again. I don't want to miss the class, so I think I'll do that after the class. I'll restart my system.
Okay. What about Israel? Is it moving? What about Emmanuel? Emmanuel, are you with us? Mr. Emmanuel, are you with us? Yeah, what about line?
Israel said is with us in the chat group.
All right. What about line? Are you getting it as well? Okay. All right. So right here on this button, we can have our on click. All right, and this our on click calls a particular function. All right, the function I want to call in this case can be let's write our function here. All right. So we're passing, takes in an index. Then what we want to do from here is to activity list dot pop a particular pop removes the last one, but it's possible for us to pass in our own index. Okay, but for simplicity's sake, let's go to our splice. And we are passing a particular index to it. All right, so let's save that. Okay, so from our click, we are calling delete activity, and the index we are passing to it will be, obtaining it from our activity, my index, which I didn't do earlier. I should have done that. And the key right here is the index. So we are passing in the particular index to our button. So, all right. So what happened here was that this particular function that I had here is like to prevent the on-click button from being called instantly. All right. So like we await the on-click itself event before it advances to this particular delete situation. So if I were to like click on this now, okay, just to show that log, just get a full capture. What's the dishes? Okay, something is happening. Mm. Just to be sure. Okay. So the problem at the moment is that it's not re-rendering. Like it's not re-rendering what we have here. So in order to, I don't know if anyone understands what is happening there. Like it's removing the particular item from the list. Like pick Debbie from school. If I were to click it now, all right. Okay. I'm having a situation. Cool. It's removing from the list. However, it's not re-rendering the entire list, which I have a problem with. But I have a problem with the fact that it's not working for pick Debbie from schools to remains 5. Okay, I got it. So what we need to do is to like re-render. That's the main thing we need to do at the moment. So for that to happen, we have to like remove it from here because we want to like because this is constant now. The moment it loads it in the first time, it's hard for us to like render based on it again. So in this case, we have to store it inside of something called a state in React. So what that state means, it houses our data and it helps keep track of the changes that happens to this data. Right. So in this case, right here on the top, okay, let's import something called useState. Okay. So we're bringing in our useState from React. Now, inside of our activity, export default function, then let's create our constant. Okay, let's call it activity list now. Don't worry, activity list. And the other one, let's create like set activity list. So this set activity list is the one that helps us effect a change to the set activity list. All right, so set activity list, and all of this will be equating it to what we imported useState. All right, and the current one I want to pass with is a list, and this particular list will be, you know, everything inside is going to be all of this item right here. So let's remove it from here, and you can delete this one now. Remove everything inside the activity list and pass it to the activity list that we defined inside here. All right. So that is the way to go. And right inside here again, we can define our function. Delete list, delete activity with the index and all. So what we want to like do here is to, okay, before we move on to that, let's just comment this ones out. You see? All right. So if you were to save, you would see that we have the functions, as in the wash the dishes, everything is still right there again. But now it's loading it from the use state and not the, it's loading from the use state and not the one we typed on top earlier. So this one is coming from the use state. So once again, this use state like is the one that helps us house our data. All right, it houses the data and helps us keep track of the changes that are caused to this data that we've stored. So all right, so in order to move on, we are going to call our set activity state. Okay, but before we move on from there, let's get our current list. Current list is equals to activity list. All right, that's the current list. So what we want to do from here is that, or better still, new list, which is a const, is equals to activity list, and we are, slicing it with the index, and we're removing just one item per time. All right. So now, what we want to do in this case is to set activity list, which is the one that helps us store the value. What we'll be passing in will now be our new list. I don't know if that's making sense to anyone. Let me explain this again. Our delete activity now takes in an argument called index. All right. So this index, what we want to do to it is to remove it from the activity list that we have, which is this one right here. Okay. Remove it from the activity list. All right. Which is what we did on line 32. Okay. After we've removed it, we want to assign the new list now to this variable that we declared here, const new list. So once we are now setting activity list, all right, to be equal to the new list that we've created. All right. So now, if we were to save that, all right, and click on, let's say, pick Debbie from school. Okay. That has to do with, unexpected. All right, let's implement this. This new list. Now, this was what I was avoiding earlier, but new list equals activity list, and I'm filtering it. Filter, and I'm getting the value, the index. So return it to me if the index is not equal to the particular index. Well, let's give this one a new name. If index is, let's call this one current index, current list index. Okay, if index is not, if current list index is not equal to, then let's call this one past index. It's not equal to past index. All right, so that's new list, and let's set this as new list. All right, so yeah, that was what I was avoiding earlier, but I didn't want to write a function, but I had to write a function again, and it doesn't make any sense. So, but yeah, if you pick Debbie from school now, leaves the, if you take a nap, leaves, finish assignment, that one leaves as well. Cook leaves, wash the dishes leaves as well. So like that's what happened, but let me explain what I did here and or what I was trying to do earlier. So if anyone have a better way of doing this, like it makes sense, please communicate that across. What I was trying to do earlier was to use the slice method. All right, then from the result, then I pass that to the set activity list. But where the error was in that splice was that splice itself returns the particular element that was removed. That means if we have a particular list now of vowels A, E, I, O, U, or U rather, and I call the splice to remove the, let's say, the element at position 0. That's the A. Now the slice itself now returns to us a particular value. That value that was returned, that is going to be returned, is not the list itself. It's the value in that list that was removed. That's what it returns to us. All right. So that requires us to compare the normal list and the value that was removed again as well. So, and that is not what we want to like do. So now on line 32, what is now happening here is that I'm creating a new list now, and this new list is based off something, a filtration of the current list, which is the activity list at the moment. So now filter takes into can take in up to like 2. This one is the value, but it happens that we are not using it. That's why it's just line dormant. The value, but we are more particular about the index. Why? Because the index is what the delete button here is passing to us. It's passing the index. All right, that's on line 54 here, index. So this particular index is what we call past index here. So this new list activity filter through all of it, all right, then return something to me that does not contain the current index that we're talking about. Okay, so that means that inside of the past index, if it's 3, we're going to create a new list that does not contain that particular element at position 3 in the new list, and that's what I did here. But I thought I would have been able to achieve it easier using you know the splice and the pop. However, it's just amazing that something like that is like isn't so quick like that, because there's some other programming languages out there that makes it very, very easy to go about. But that is what is happening at the moment. If you click on wash the dishes now, it goes away. Mow the lawn, it goes away. Pick debris from school, it goes away. So, and that's what we're trying to like achieve initially. So I don't know if you got it. Like if you got it, kindly say hi. If you don't, say no, so that I would know what to do, because I'm also going to like make a recap video about what we did today. That's what we talked about earlier. That was yesterday. About a recap video that should come during the course of the week. So during this recap video will be like I would explain, like in in a more concise manner, the things that we did during the class today. But this is essentially what we are doing here. We created the previous application that we did using pure HTML and CSS using React, and this is what we have right here at the moment. So and okay, I wouldn't know if I should give us this as an assignment. This is the confirm button right here. If you can, try and, work to capture the input that is coming from here. So because that would take us to the same level with where we are in the HTML and CSS one as well. But during the course of the week, I will also update us about this button, how to, add your invert listener to it and to get the value from that. But since tomorrow we have another class, I think we can continue from there, and we'll give a proper assignment tomorrow. So today will just be for you to go over the things that we've done in today's class. So if you have any question, kindly let me know before we wrap up the class.
So I don't have a question.
All right, please go on.
Please, I don't get that your set activity. How do you come about it?
All right.
The task, my own is flagging it as error.
All right. So the sect activity is defined on line 4.
Okay.
All right. So this entire construction here that you can see on line 4 is not our own doing. The guys that created React were the ones that made it that way. What it means is that we're creating two particular variable here. Number one is the activity list. Number two is the set activity list. What is happening there is that we are creating two variables, and we are assigning these two variables to like two of them that is coming from useState. All right. So useState was not created by us. It was created as a part of the function inside of React. It's called hooks. All right. So the first one, which is the activity list, is going to be the current value of the variable that you are passing to that useState. Where the set activity list that we defined here, this one right here, will be the guy that can effect change to this activity list. Okay, so now inside of this set activity list, instead of passing new list to it, if I were to pass something like this, let me create a new list inside this place now, and I'm passing, let's say title, and I'm passing, okay, Goke to this particular thing. But since we're talking about object, let me wrap it inside. All right. If I were to save this now, and the moment I click on any button, it's going to return just one element, which is click. You can see it returns Goke right there. So the set activity list is just a variable name that we created ourselves, but the function assigned to it is that it will allow for the manipulation of the first one here, activity list. If we call this one just a regular activity list, all right, the same will still apply. Set activity list will be the guy that can allow for the manipulation or the change of content inside activity list. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Mano?
I'm still trying to grab it.
All right. All right. Okay, no problem. Possibly when you watch the video, or in the next class as well, which is tomorrow, like we'll dive deeper on that angle. Does anyone again have any question for us?
Well, it's not a question actually. I'll just suggest, how soon can we have the video so that we can go through the video before tomorrow's class? Like for me, I need to do a lot of practicing.
All right. I'm in charge of the video. Like I have the video with me over here. So now that you've mentioned it, I'll do what to like provide the video like within let's say 30 minutes after the class is over. I'll do what to provide. Do what to provide that. Yeah. Do we have any other question?
Yes, sir.
All right, Dio.
Okay. In the function you created, that's the delete activity function. Can you explain the constant new list you filtered, and I don't understand that part.
All right. So to explain this, just look at my browser here. I'm creating this new let me create a new list. All right. Let's list be equals to. Okay, let's use students Ade and Charles. Let me add more. Shade, let me add Bio. Okay. All right. So these are the list of students that we have in the class. All right. We want to like filter this list such that this list does not contain any elements that is less than 3-letter words. That's Ayo and Adi. All right. So now do something for us. All right. New. Well, let's new student. Can you see? Can you see what I'm doing, Dio?
Yes, I can.
All right. So others to please pay attention. So now I'm calling on students, which is a list of its own. All right. Now filter is a method. Just like we have the likes of for each map, we also have filter. All right. So now filter takes 2 arguments or more, rather, but in this case we have the value itself and we also have the index. All right. So now do something for us. All right. Filter on a particular condition. Okay. What is the condition? Now we are saying that if, or perhaps you don't need an if statement right there because it's already a filter. So if value dot length, all right, if value dot length is less than or equals to 3, all right. So if we were to like enclose that and call the new student list now, you can see that it gives to us a new list where the students' name are less than or equals to 3. Okay. So now in this example that we have here inside the back to our code, we created a new list that is based off the current activity list. And the filtration system is dependent on the fact that, okay, give us a new list whereby the current list index, all right, is not equal to the past index. What it means is that if the user clicks on this particular button here on line 54, clicks on delete activity with index 4. Now, the system comes to this place and passes 4 to delete activity. Now, we are creating a new list that will not include the element at position 4. Does that make sense to you, Dayo?
Yes.
Like, give to me a new list that will not include that particular index, and that's what is happening. So now it's generates a new list for us. So the new list that is generated is what we are now passing to set activity list. And like Mr. Emmanuel asked at that time, what is set activity list about? Now that we've passed set activity list and we're giving it a new kind of value, it's going to mutate the value of activity list that we defined here and change it to the new one that we are passing from here.
Okay, so it's like I'm getting what you're saying now. The implication is that the original list is not being touched. It's not tampered with.
The original list now has been changed already. The moment we called set activity list, it clears away the previous list that we had.
Okay, and replace it.
And replaces it with the new one.
Okay.
So now when we now call activity list again, it will now be the new one that we've appended to it.
Okay. Okay.
What about okay, Oluwaseun. What about line? She's still with us. I think she's no longer in. And all right. Israel, how's it going as well? Mr. Israel. Okay. So then if no one else has any other question or clarification to put forward, then we can close the class on this note and we'll continue from here tomorrow. I'll do well to make the video available as soon as possible, like I said. And I'll see us all in the next class. Thank you for joining today.
Thank you.